Hi guys, Dave in Texas here, and what you're looking at is another little organ project. This is a little mini organ, a Prelude synthesizer, and it's from Italy. The owner hasn't played it in 20 years, and the worst part about it is that the back cord has been cut off by somebody, the plug. And when they do that, that means something electrical is really wrong with this particular organ. I mean, really wrong with it, such as they received electrical shock, right? And the back fuse over the plug has been blown and melted. So we have a real power issue with this organ, and I've got to address that before I ever put that plug back on there and get it running again, if it can, if it's not doing any damage other than just blow that fuse, which I think that's the main issue. There's a power problem. It blew the main fuse to the power plug. As you can see, this is one hell of a setup. I have to go through here and check every single connection on every board, see what I think may have happened. I see a few things that look like they got a little bit crispy, such as this top board. Looks like it got fried on a few spots. But other than that, the main board, I just spot checking it, looks to be in pretty good shape. This is the main board. I don't see any leaks or any burns there. And the power board's over here with a that is very expensive to replace. These from Italy. If it's gone or shot, or something's wrong with it, I can check that out too. And I'll go through and check every spot on this board, as well as underneath the keyboard. It lifts up as well, like this, to show the connections to it and all the caps that are in there. Look at this thing. It's a huge deluge of caps and resistors on these things. It's amazing that all this stuff is done now with a chip and basically 4 or 5 chips in a board would do all the work this thing's doing now. Isn't that wild? Of course, it's really dirty, and before I do anything about powering it up or even testing it, I've got to clean all this dirt out of here. And I used I used before is a brush, this large paintbrush I use to sweep this thing out with in a vacuum. I won't use compressed air on these because it does cause moisture problems when you have humid days like today. And I'll go through here, sweep it out, and suck it up, and sweep it out, and suck it up. If I get any residual parts laying around or falling off, I'll find those and go from there. But so far, it looks like the keyboard's just dirty. It's warped. There's a gasket that fell off of it earlier that I can replace that pretty readily. But look at here, guys. All looks like to be intact, except for that one board. Looks like it's got some issues to it that may be in need of being replaced or completely reshot, with the same parts again. So hang in there, guys. It's a cleanup job for Dave again, first and foremost, on this old Prelude organ. What I've done so far, guys, I've taken my shop vac, this large brush, and I've gone through and swept off all this old dust and gook out of this board on the back. Now, the reason I do that instead of compressed air is it does get the boards clean. As you can see, they're nice and clean on the inside again. It dislodges the dirt on the boards along with the vacuum cleaner. Nice, and I got a pretty good vacuum cleaner, shop vac. Anyway, okay, so what we got, all this dirt on this thing has got to come off, okay? And the best thing to do to not do any damage is a very flippy brush, like this one, and a vacuum cleaner away from the parts we're vacuuming, not touching them. So watch this, and of course, bear with me on the noise. what that general sweep out did, it actually got a spring to pop loose out of the board down here in this area over here. And of course not to the board, it's to something else. I believe it's to the one of the keys that's come loose. Yeah, it's to this particular key. The one that's broken here. Alright, so let's save that part. But, question. Did this particular spring get lodged on this board, which I just swept it out of the board, because it was in it, and cause a problem? Cause a problem to shut this thing down. Like I said, I see some burn marks near the transformer in this area here. I see some melted leads. That's a big red flag, guys. But something that's kind of curious is the two fuses to the power board, not to the power line, but the power board, they look to be good. I'll have to test them, make sure they're not burnt on the inside, on the very tips. But on the middle, they look to be still active and still working. So I'll check the continuity on those, make sure they're still good with my voltmeter. But I gave the board a good sweeping, and nothing else came off, nothing else moved as being broken and unseen. But the one thing that does, keep creeping up is this little board here that controls some of the, type music that's being played with this little instrument. And the Italians are known for daisy chaining their electronics. One leads to the other, so if one goes down, this one goes down. If that one goes down, they all go down. That kind of thing. I see some burn marks here, some melted marks here. But now I'm looking at this, with the exception of these EEPROMs on here, every part on here is replaceable and very cheaply. I'd have to desolder all the parts on the board, except for the EEPROM stands. Remove those carefully, store those. There's no backup battery on this thing that I can find. So there's nothing as an active memory. It's all passive. So we'll get to this thing and see what we can come up with. In the meantime, I won't be testing this under power anytime soon. I do have use of a little device that can take power up very gradually on a 110 volt and see if there's an issue without putting a full charge on it and electrocuting my full self. But that's with a friend right now. I can't get him on the phone, so I have to wait to hear from him before doing any work on that plug-in test on this board. Wow, this thing is a absolute nightmare as far as electronics. But I was told it's a hell of a nice little synthesizer, otherwise he wouldn't be wanting to fix it. So we got 30 minutes into this, cleaning it up, getting all set up and fixed up and nice and shiny again somewhat. Still got to clean off this panel, as well as get all this goo off these keys. These keys look like 20 years worth of bad news on them. And what I do, I use a very light abrasive just to scratch that built-in dirt and that stain off these keys, make them nice again, nice to play. Of course, the one issue is replacing this broken one that's just broken to bits, and all the parts to it are not here. If they had parts to it, this part here, the actual playing part, I could fix it, I could glue it back together again. However, it doesn't. It only has the lead in back into the board itself, and that's no good. That won't help me. But if you look at this, especially on the panel, it doesn't look like it's been played that much. Because if you have a piano or a synthesizer that's been gigged, all this stuff usually gets scratched up, bent up, scratched up, parts are missing, but everything's here. So it looks like it's either taken very good care of when it was used, or was not used on the road whatsoever. Okay, so this is a pretty nice little Prelude, and I still don't have the schematics for it, so I gotta hold off doing much of it, the work I want to do or to test it, because I just don't do that anymore. I don't go blindly in there and start working on something without the schematics. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to hurt somebody else. So hang in there, guys, while we do the next steps, and that's to rewire that 110 on there, get the plug back on it for future testing. But for now, no test until I get my test device in. So hang in there, guys. So this is my new Variac. Replaced the old one that got misappropriated. Still haven't heard anything about it. You got the message. Sure be nice to get it back, guy. You know, they had to send us back to get my money back, but I've got to have one to work on these amps and such. Otherwise, I end up electrocuting my fool self. What damn is this damn box? This thing is really heavy for me. Okie dokie. So that's no lightweight little tool. Must weigh 25 pounds. Well, here it is. Pretty nice. You know, it's a dual setup here. And like I said, guys, what this does, it varies the amount of electricity going to your test part, like your amp. So I can dial it up any amount of electricity I want and not blow anything, you know, by going, you know, full voltage by just turning it on, you know, at 110. So also, these are really nice for older amps. You can find out that your amp actually plays and sounds better on a different electricity, like say it plays better on 100. Have one of these, you know, in between your power source is not a bad idea. You know, protect your amp too. It's got a fuse set up on it. It will blow if it goes too much, but it'll keep that voltage down where it belongs. You know, spikes included. So it's a very nice little piece of equipment. I've got now to replace the older one. Still, well, mine was a single, so it is an improvement than my old one. But still, you know, whoever's listening, if you send it back, I can still send this thing back and get my money back.